crowd, and we're thrilled to see you all. I have some notes so that I don't forget anything that I want to say, but this program is jointly sponsored by the Kingston Museum Committee, the Kingston Historic District Commission, and the new, fairly new, a year plus old, Kingston Heritage Commission. And they have some photographs right over there of work that's going on with the Heritage Commission. If you haven't seen it, please stop and take a look after the talk. I'm also here to thank the Humanities Council, the New Hampshire Humanities Council, for funding the program as part of its Humanities to Go program. Humanities to Go offers hundreds of different programs to libraries, museums, community organizations throughout the state. And we already, I'm happy to say, have booked our full number for this year. Keep your eye on the library newsletter and you will see what Charlotte has planned for the fall. A number of great programs are coming up. Now, as a representative of the Humanities Council, I am not only pleased to thank you for coming, but I'm ready to give a long speech on the value of the humanities. Just kidding. I will spare you that. But I do want to call your attention to how the New Hampshire Humanities Council enriches the state. In a world where information is delivered in quick sound bites, often promoting a particular point of view, the humanities, literature, history, philosophy, the interpretation of art and music help us understand context. And my favorite word, complexify. They complexify those sound bites so that we can add layers of meaning to better make sense of our world and of ourselves. That's the essence of the humanities. I'm proud to tell you that the Humanities Council has just been voted by New Hampshire Magazine as one of the winners of Best in New Hampshire. It has won the editor's pick for Best Cultural Catalyst in the New Hampshire Magazine. This is the current issue, and you will see a write-up about it in there. And we also have our newest publication, which is a historical and cultural map of New Hampshire. They're available at various bookstores, including our own Water Street bookstore in Exeter, for printing, and for buying and framing. And it has a variety of cultural icons on it. You can click on these icons and find out more about each of the little pictures. I'm happy to say that Kingston has one of Josiah Bartlett and Nicholas Gilden signing the Declaration of Independence. So you can look at that. We're recognized, and many cities and towns in the state are, and you can find this on our website, newhampshirenhhc.org, I think, and you can click on them. And it will be improved, and it will be longer, better material will be added to it in the future, and it's going to be a great interactive, ultimately, resource for the history and culture of New Hampshire. So that's the plug for the humanities. The final plug is please to fill out the evaluations. We really depend on them for planning our programs going forward. And the final announcement, we would appreciate very much if members of the Historic District Commission, the Heritage Commission, Kingston Library Board of Trustees, and the Museum Committee would gather up here after the talk for a group photograph with Mr. Hubka. That would be great. Thank you. So, I want to thank everyone from these various committees. I don't want to go through all the names of the committees again, but particular thanks to Ruth Albert and Lindsay McDougall, who managed and put this program together and have been touring with Mr. Hubka so that he could become familiar with Kingston for the last couple of hours. And special thanks too to Elaine Van Dyke and Kathy Houghton for preparing and serving up our 19th century snacks later on, maybe more than snacks. There was mention of baked beans, which might be hearty New England fare that fit the period that we're going to be talking about. And a last plug for Kingston Days. The library, Nichols Archives, and the Museum Committee have put together some absolutely fabulous programs. New exhibits on World War I, this is August 2nd and 3rd. New exhibits on World War I, ice harvesting in Kingston, and a fabulous program to go with our wonderful exhibit on glass plates taken by Harry Whiskers Clark in the early 20th century. We will have a reenactor, a man by the name of Mark Bingham, will come to, with his tent, just like the tent that Harry Whiskers Clark put out on the plains, and he will be taking photographs using some of the old techniques and materials. So please, if you're all interested in that, you can find a wonderful exhibit and illustrations of the photographs that Harry Whiskers Clark took in the library, thanks to Walt Roy. And thank you very, very much. And to all of you. And if there's anyone I've forgotten, we thank you too. And please come to visit our exhibits on Kingston Days. Now, without further ado, we're so delighted that Mr. Hubka came all the way from Oregon, albeit via Maine, I think, to see us this summer. He is a graduate of Carnegie Mellon University and with a master's degree from the University of Oregon. I guess he went there and stayed. His publications, sadly, some of them are already sold out, but I'm sure he'll tell us how they're available. Big House, Little House, Back House, Barn, we still have copies of that, which he can autograph for you after the program. Those are the connected buildings of New England, and that's what he'll be focusing on today. He also has a copy of his wonderful book, Resplendent Synagogue, Architecture and Worship in an 18th Century Polish Community. And his current work is all sold out, I guess. But that sounds very interesting. Houses Without Names, Architecture, Nomenclature, and the Classification of America's Common Houses. His research interprets the historic development and relationships between architecture, buildings, and culture and people. And we appreciate his providing historical and architectural context for Kingstonians faced with the challenge of the future of the Race Daily House. Thank you very much for coming.
Testing. 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 I usually speak without the microphone, and I tend to walk around. International symbol, if I can't hear, is that I'll speak louder, and if I can't do that, I'll go to the microphone. So please, if one person can't hear, that's fine. I'll get louder and do that. Another international symbol is repeat. Do it again. Say, I didn't understand it, or do it if you wanted me to work on a particular subject. If you've got a question, I prefer it maybe at the end, but sometimes you've got a burning question you got to ask. Our students are always like that. So that's fine. We'll attempt to answer whatever question you kind of throw at me. Yes?
Mother was from Wisconsin, lived in a run-on home, which is what she called this architecture, run-on architecture.
Well, that's a new name for me. It doesn't sound like something like I've heard in New Hampshire.
Well, they moved and homesteaded from New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. Maybe they got a new name over there. Those Wisconsinites. I lived there 20 years. You know, they can be kind of funny. So, I had a ride today. Ruth Albert and Lizzie McDougall drove me around, and I got a newcomer's welcome to your town. I'll try to make reference to that, and so Lindsay and if I stumble on a name or something like that, maybe you can help me. No quizzes or anything like that.
Okay.
Also, Ruth, where are you?
I'm right here.
Okay, fine. Okay, then you'll be there. Big house, little house, back house, barn. When I first started exploring houses in New England, farmhouses, I'd ask that question at local granges. I haven't seen your local grange here. Do you have an active grange here at this present time? I spoke at a couple, and I would ask them, have you ever heard the expression, big house, little house, back house, barn? A couple of the farmers would, say, the males would say, yeah, I've heard of it and all that. But always in the back of the room, way in the back of the room, the oldest women in the back of the room, the hand would go up and, little smiles or something like that. And they had versions of a childhood game of big house, little house, back house, barn, and versions of musical chairs. When the music stops, where are you going to get married? get married in the big house, get married in the little house, get married in the